In our final lecture on market structure, we'll be talking about the concept of a monopoly. So a monopoly is, as the name suggests, there is only one seller in the market. And because there is only one seller, there is only one product, and so there is no product differentiation. And also because there is only one seller, there is weak competition between sellers because of the monopoly that the seller has on the market. There are also high barriers to entry, and these high barriers of entry are in the form of high costs or even government regulations. And we'll talk about why this is important in a moment. And the final characteristic of a monopoly is that the firms are price makers. So instead of what we learned from pure competition, where firms are price takers to consumers, monopolies can charge a markup on their price because they are the only seller in the market. Okay. So what we assumed before is that resources are allocated most efficiently when the market power is weak. So when there is strong competition in the market, resources will be allocated most efficiently. So why is it necessary that a monopoly exists in the marketplace? Okay, so let's look at why a monopoly should exist now. And this is very important in understanding the concept of economics as a study of how we maximize our living standards. Okay, so why does a monopoly or monopolies exist? Even though they are able to mark up the price and cause inefficiency in that way. Okay, so firstly, there are two reasons on why monopolies exist. Firstly, we have the economies of scale argument, and secondly, we have the innovation and incentivization argument. So incentivization. Let's look at the economies of scale argument. Every household has a water supply, and this water supply comes from the central water system of the city. So why is it inefficient that a city has numerous water supplies? It's because of the economies of scale argument. Most monopolies are regulated by the government because they have high fixed costs, and so it would be inefficient if there were a high number of sellers in the market. So take for example, if the Victoria water system had 5 different sellers. At the moment you have one water channel that you go through, the pipelines that they use to deliver the water from the reservoirs to your house. So at the moment there is only one water pipeline owned by the same country, which is Melbourne Water. So why would it be inefficient for many companies to enter the market? So first of all, how would you divide the water? So water is indistinguishable. So if all 5 companies use the same pipeline, how are they distinguished what type of water and what water each household is using and from which company? So it'd be impractical in that sense. So to counter this, every company would then have to build their own water pipeline, and this could be a project worth billions and billions of dollars, and that would be ineffective because that money can be placed in other productive resources such as education or health. And so that is inefficient in that sense. So firstly, there is an economies of scale argument, so that if there is only one producer in the market, as it is at the moment with Melbourne Water, you can spread fixed costs more thinly. And this means other resources can be devoted or allocated to their most effective need. The second argument is innovation and incentivization. So what does this mean? Let's take the music industry for example. Most record artists, they produce their own music and they file for a patent in their music. And what this means is there is a legal right for that artist to produce their own music and for others not to plagiarize or copy their music. So if this doesn't exist, then no artist or no musician would have the incentive to produce music, because other people can just steal their music off them and still make a profit. Similarly with, say, biotech firms, when they engineer drugs or medicine to help cure certain diseases, if they use their research and development, so R&D, if they use R&D to develop these patents, then they are foregoing costs. And they assume that they're going to make back these costs by selling these drugs or these medicines to people and make a profit. However, if there is no patent saying that this biotech firm is given the right, and that right only, to sell their product, then other biotech firms may move into the market and use their research and development R&D without actually foregoing any costs to sell their patents. And this means initially there will be no biotech firms willing to innovate or do research as to how to cure new diseases. And this means that our living standards will not be maximized to the extent that it could be if research and development and innovation takes place. So that's why monopolies are important, that they exist, because firstly of the economies of scale argument, and secondly because of the innovation and the incentivization argument.